Good morning. I would like to start with a basic fact this morning that all nature cannibalizes itself. And this is very important to understand that all nature cannibalizes itself. And because once you actually think about this and understand this, then I think this is the beginning of understanding nature. Not we are all a residents, we're all lovely, love everybody, accept everybody unconditionally. This shit is well, it has a practical use. I'm not fucking saying it has no purpose, it has no use. But I think it's more rather than trying to make things as you think they would like to be, as you think you ought to be, and going out thinking, oh, everything is lovely, everything is lovely. Let me tell you, if you go near a fucking cobra or a snake, a poisonous snake, it'll bite you. It'll bite you, and I think it's important to understand. That's why if you're going into the bush or wherever in Australia or anything, it's important to know what snakes are venomous. It's important to know what snakes will bite you, what snakes won't bite you. And this doesn't only apply to snakes, it applies to spiders, it applies to animals. What animal can you not go near? What animals can you go near? What mushrooms can you eat? What mushrooms can you not eat? That mushroom's poisonous, don't even touch the fucking thing. Do you understand? People are the same. You have to understand that we're not all the same. We're not all the same. We're individuals. And some people are horrible cunts. Some people are horrible fucking cunts. And when it comes to accepting everybody unconditionally, grand. Accept that they're a horrible cunt as long as you fucking fully realise for your own good that they're a horrible cunt. Now, that's why between Tole and another site that was saying to accept everybody unconditionally, and the whole hope is then that they'll accept you unconditionally. And this is more telling people shit that they want to hear. Oh, if everybody's accepted unconditionally, maybe there's hope for me. You know, maybe there's hope for me. I can be accepted unconditionally. Well, that depends. Are you a right prick? Like, if you're a right cunt, then you're a bit out on a limb expecting everyone to accept you unconditionally if you're a right cunt. Why would they want to do that? Because you're just going to bring them nothing only torment and misery. Do you know what I mean? Like, the onus is sort of on you to say to yourself, well, am I a right cunt? Am I a right cunt? Do I want to change? Or I'm happy to be a right cunt? And if you're happy to be a right cunt, then sail on with that, because you will not be in the least bit bothered, because you just do what is in your nature to do, and you won't be in the least bit bothered by not getting validated or not getting accepted by anybody. But if it's acceptance you want, like the weak, if you want to be accepted by everybody, if you want to be accepted by everybody, don't be a cunt. It's that simple, don't be a cunt. But anyway, what I want is, this is basically a rebuttal to something I was saying yesterday about people being accepting people unconditionally. I am all for accepting people. I'm very much like, we all have different roles, but nature brings us together with people, with different people for different reasons. Now I've been brought together with very nice people and some horrible cunts, but I didn't reject the horrible cunts, because, like, this is my role. I get, as the universe said to me before, when I said, where are you going to, horrible cunt? The universe said, well, why would you call them horrible cunts? Like, what will you call the rapists and murderers in the jail? And I said, yeah. So we agreed to call them interesting, and then by seeking to understand them, I get to understand what makes them horrible cunts. I get to understand their nature and their nurture, but this takes a little bit of standing back and having some observation. But let me tell you, if you don't stand back, that some of these cunts are terribly manipulative and they play mind games. Now, it's all grand playing mind games with someone like me. I love mind games. But do you understand that these people, when they play mind games with people who, say, might be vulnerable, that their whole intent is manipulation. They can be manipulative people. They're like the poisonous snakes, like the poisonous mushrooms, like the ivy. But they only seek one thing, and that's their own fucking selfish interests. And they look to manipulate everybody to serve their own selfish interest. And these people exist, and there's fucking lots of them. And you have to be aware of this. Not this thing of accepting people unconditionally and more or less offering yourself up as a sacrifice. No, you have to. This is how you learn self-control. And when you learn some self-control, you learn how to deal with these people and how to respond as you see fit. You take the response that serves you best. You always pick the response that serves you best. And the first thing you have to do is learn how to respond to your thoughts, and then you can learn to respond to these eventualities. But for example, one thing I learned is, because fate brings you together with these people, trying to resist it is going to cause you. The universe has ways and means of bringing us to be where we want to be. For example, I remember watching one thing, Britannia, and your man was saying, "Oh, if I did this, if I had to do that, it would be different. Oh, but if I did this, if I did that," and your man said, "But you didn't." And he said, "Well, if I did this, I could have blinded him, and I could do this." Yeah, but you didn't. All that mattered is what I did do. Basically, if my auntie had balls, she would be my uncle. And that's why I say this if thing never works. There's no point even having regrets, because this thing of, oh, if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle. And you could nearly take that word if and fuck it out the window. But my point is, like, that I was going to say is, as bad as it is to want something, it's worse to not want something. So I really accept everything as is. So whoever gets landed on me, I'll deal with it. But I choose the best way to respond to it. And the best way to respond to it is with certain people, is to make sure that you stay in control of yourself. Make sure that you don't end up as the prey, because this is nature. All nature cannibalizes itself. And the whole objective, as far as I'm concerned, is not to be the prey. If anything, you don't necessarily have to be the predator, but wherever you don't be the prey. Well, actually, the best game is to pretend to be the prey, but really be the predator. But these people play this game, and if you don't see through the smoke and mirrors, this is why I say, they say no judgment. Don't get too fucking carried away with this no judgment thing. Let me tell you, you have to stand back from these people, and you have to see through the personas and your projections. So your projections is, for example, like I was talking to someone recently who met someone new, and he was more or less has all these fantasies about how wonderful life is going to be, and this is a projection, because you're creating a fantasy or projecting your fantasy of your ideal woman or ideal man, whatever the case may be, onto this person, and then you're looking for these things in this person to support your delusion. In other words, you have a delusion about this person, and what causes the delusion is you're projecting your own image, what you would like in someone, and because you might be needy, or might be tired of being alone, or whatever the reason is, you project this onto someone else, and then you look for these things to support your delusion, and this is a projection. And then a persona, obviously, is they try to be everything that they think you want them to be. So they're really nice. Would you like a coffee? Would you have another slice of cake? You know what I mean? It's all about this persona, and then sometimes some of them are like chameleons. They adapt. They like the same music as you. They might never have even fucking heard it, but they like the same music as you. They watch the same sports as you, but they adapt to what you. They adapt to the same things nearly as you like, and oh yeah, I love that too. But this is personas. This is somebody projecting personas are very common in Western society. Like, you get all the Americans, hi, this is a persona, and then they might go and say, that fucking cunt. But this is a persona, like behaving in a way that to fit in with others, to be accepted by others. This is a persona. So I say, whenever you meet somebody new, you have to sit back and you have to say, what the fuck am I dealing with here exactly? And you have to see through the projections, which is your projections, which will be completely natural until you get to a certain stage where you learn to have no projections. And then you have to see through the personas. But sometimes you can just see through enough to know that you have to sit back from this and another bit, and take your time with this. You have to sit back from this another bit, because you have to say to yourself, how exactly, what am I dealing with here, and what is the best response? But in order to choose the best response, you really want to be having an idea what you're dealing with, and then it's a matter of, like, down to your own coping mechanisms and your own things, and this your own ability to deal with these things. But you see, well, yes, this is very important, and that's why I don't get too carried away with this acceptance and this non-judgment and all this sort of thing. All that has a place. All that has a place. But first thing you have to understand is that you're an individual, and you have your own limitations, you have your own coping mechanisms, you have your own, your own nature, your own nurture, and so have they. But you have to sit back, and while you have to work on yourself, you also have to. Part of working on yourself is learning how to deal with these people, and learning how to, yes, accept them, but you have to see them for what they are. And then you have to make a decision, like, well, do I even want to deal with this person? Now, I won't turn any of them away. But as I say, the most important thing I have to learn is how to stay in control of yourself. Because some of them are master manipulators. And people are inherently, what do you call that word? They're self-interested, like, they're self-interested. Cynical, yeah. They're interested in their own selfish interests. And but if you sit down with these people and you stay in control of yourself, as Carl Jung said, if there's going to be any change, both of you will change. But basically, from as far as I'm concerned, it's about, as Nietzsche said, one has to be able to absorb, like a sea, be able to absorb a river and not be defiled. So, like, what I often say, for example, is you can often get very toxic people. And what is a toxic person? Well, a toxic person is someone who would be a master manipulator, but they've no interest in coming out of their own misery. They've no interest in coming out of their own depression. What they're interested in doing is taking you and drowning you, pulling you down to their level, and you're going to be miserable as well, because misery loves company. Now that's what you call a toxic person. Somebody wants you to join them in their misery, but they don't want to come up to your vibration. They want to bring you down to theirs, and there's different ways of going about it. But it's nearly like it's not even an intent. This is in their nature to do this. This is in their nature to do this. And the whole thing is, you have to really stay in control of yourself. And the other day, when they decide to come out of the abyss or not, that's down to them. But it's very important to recognize what you're dealing with and learn how to stay in control of yourself in these situations. Good morning.